Okay, let's begin painting. So very basic thing, make sure your layout is good. So this is how I do my layout. Paper here, tissue box here, and I have my paper tilted on the tissue box. I have a spiral bound pad and little clips at the bottom. Then next to me on the right hand side, I have my palette, and then above that I have my rag and my water, and even my colours are organised. So they start off with earthy colours, become brights, yellow, orange, red, and then go into cools, blue, light blue, green. And then I have a bit of white here and some odd colours here. Okay, so we're going to start with this sky first of all. Now we're going to wet the paper because we want it to be soft, but if possible we would like some of the edges of these clouds to be a bit hard, so we won't wet the paper so that it's soaking wet. We want it moist if possible. And then after we've done that, the first thing I'm going to do is the blue parts. So we want to simplify this. So if you look at the sky, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 blue areas. So we need 5 blue blobs, and you just want to see the basic shape, the basic shapes. Don't worry about details. If you get caught up in details, it will take you too long to paint the picture and it will all dry out and you won't get those lovely soft edges. So after we've done that, the blue bit, we're going to do a light grey bit. Now it's important that it is a very light grey, and also that we don't do too much because we want these lovely crisp whites to be coming out. And then after we've done that, we've got a slightly darker grey bit here and maybe here, and I might exaggerate that a little. So let's begin. So for this we are using a mop brush and plenty of water, and just wet this. Whoops. Okay, just wet this. I was just checking that the video was on. That would be funny if it wasn't. Now I have wet this quite a lot, but the season now is autumn in Japan, and the atmosphere is, or the air is very dry. So this will dry out very quickly, I think. So that's why I've put quite a bit of water on. Okay, so here's my phthalo blue. And about that much, that kind of mix, not too thick, not too watery. And then a bit of blue here, some blue here. I'm roughly copying the shapes I can see, and there's a bit of blue here and a touch there. And then here. Okay, and now I'm going to do the light grey bit. So I'm using phthalo blue, a touch of alizarin crimson, and make a bit more. And then it's a bit too purplish, so what I'll do is add a touch of yellow ochre, and that'll make it go grey. Still a bit watery. Okay, hopefully that will do. And then here we go. Yeah, it's beginning to dry out now. So as I do this, the important point is try and keep those whites. Wow. That blue looks really powerful. But as it dries, it will change a bit. It will become fainter, hopefully not too faint. Okay, so that's looking okay. And now I'm going to do my dark grey bit. So can you see I've managed to keep some big white areas, and that is really difficult. That will really challenge you. I should have left bigger white gaps, to be honest, because it would be good practice for you, because you'll really find it difficult probably to leave those areas. There's just a desire to paint everything. Now I'm making the same mix again, but thicker and darker. And I'm getting rid of excess water. And here we go. That's looking okay. And we've got a bit of dry brush there now, because that's dried off a bit. Okay, and there's a little bit there. And once again, I don't want to be destroying all my white areas when I do this. And then down here, there's a little bit more grey here. And I think that's it. Yep. And then at the bottom here, I just want to do a warm purple colour at the bottom. I quickly wet it because it's drying out. Ooh, the brush gets dirty so quickly. So I don't want too much water on the brush here because this is drying out, and if it's too wet, I'm going to get a big line going up. But I want this wash to continue down here, but I want it to be a kind of reddy with a bit of yellow and a bit of blue kind of wash for my rocks. Yeah, I think we did it. And maybe I don't even need to do this bit too neatly, actually. There we go. And let that dry. So I think that's the main points. I'll just recap. So you want to dampen the paper with pure water, and although you want it wet, you don't want it soaking wet, because we want it not to all be really soft. If possible, we want some slightly dry brush areas. Well, I didn't quite achieve that, but there would have been more chance of achieving that. And anyway, if it was too wet, it would all splurge all over the place and we'd lose completely our shapes. And we want to keep some shapes to the sky. And as you can see, it's worked out pretty well. Keep these whites. You really need to keep those whites. So be very, very careful not to paint everything. With the blues, just do 5 blue areas and do these simple shapes. And then with the grey bit, make sure it's fairly light grey and make sure you don't lose your whites. And then the same kind of mix but thicker and stronger for this dark area of cloud. And then here, continue down but make it a bit redder, because this is where the rocks will be, and the rocks have a slightly reddish colour. And that's it. So have a go, and happy painting. Remember, just keep it simple and don't get caught up in details, and you need to keep the pace fairly quick because it's all drying out very, very quickly. Also, when you do this bit, if this area has already dried out or is drying out very close to dry, then just let it dry and then do this bit, because if this is almost dry, the sky bit, but not quite, and you do a very wet wash down here, it will go up and make an ugly line, and you don't really want that. Okay, first stage done.